This presentation will look closely at Module C, Exploring Interactions. In this presentation, I'll be specifically focusing upon the construction of an analytical and extended response answer. In this module, you're required to focus upon selected poems from the Round Earth's Imagined Corners by Ken Watson. The module requires a close engagement with the ways in which language and structural elements of a text explore the social context of individuals, groups, society, and the world. We are asked to explore how individuals communicate and interact in their respective worlds and the worlds beyond their and our immediate context. The poems set for study from Ken Watson's The Round Earth's Imagined Corners are as follows: Ursula Fanthorpe's Reports Are Not My Best Side, Sujata Batt's The Stare, Carol Ann Duffy's Head of English and Yes Officer, and Gwyneth Lewis's Peripheral Vision and Good Dog. As with any poetry text, the focus should be on how language has been used to shape meaning. You must ensure that you examine the poems the ways in which they communicate ideas about how we engage and interact with others. You'll need to locate related material for this unit. Some useful forms of related material include films, picture books, artwork, and novels. It is recommended that you do not choose related material that is in the same format as that of the prescribed text, thus avoid using poetry as a related text. This module presents insight into the ways in which we connect and interact in society. The module presents texts that engage with ideas about how we think and enact these interactions. The syllabus outline is brief and is as follows. The bolded words in the following rubric are the key forms of vocabulary that you need to become familiar with. Careful application of each of the bolded words and phrases to your core and related material will ensure you're prepared to write well about this module. It is important to note that the question created for this module will be devised using keywords from the syllabus. Some of these keywords include interactions, relationships, social, context, perceptions, self, others, challenge, beliefs, and identities. It is important to utilize keywords from the rubric in your thesis statements and topic sentences. However, you need to provide your own personal and subjective insight into these keywords from the rubric. Thus, it would be useful to explore other concepts that align to the key ideas embedded into this unit. One of the biggest concepts that HSC students are asked to internalize is the notion of context. This can be a time in history or a place in a particular culture or society. Over time, things change, and in different places or different groups, people see the world differently. Through the study of poetry and other related texts, you will look closely at how these specific contexts are conveyed through communication, which has the power to shape, challenge, transform attitudes and beliefs, identities and behaviors. The types of context that you would look at might be in the home, cultural, friendship and sporting groups, the workplace and the digital world. Remember to utilize these keywords in your essays and also to think about how perceptions about oneself, others, society and relationships are affected by different contexts. Now, we will look specifically at the structure for an extended response question. Your extended response must discuss at least 2 of the prescribed text poems and 1 related text of your own choosing. You must answer the essay question by attempting to integrate your discussion of each of the texts to the essay question. Firstly, we will look at constructing an effective thesis statement and introduction. A thesis statement is just a fancy way of stating that you need to provide the marker with your own personal summary answer to the essay question. If you do not have a thesis statement, you run the risk of landing in a C or D range as you are not providing your own personal answer to the essay question. Take a careful look at the following question. How are an individual's interactions determined by their context and perceptions of others and themselves? Make reference to at least 2 poems from your core text and at least 1 text of your own choosing. Here is an example of a thesis statement that addresses the following essay question. Evocative and dynamic interactions in a range of different contexts are generated through our willingness to perceive other individuals in an equal manner. Individuals or groups in society may be restricted and limited in engaging in social interactions in a meaningful manner due to an authoritarian presence, bias, and prejudice that exists in a particular context. Carol Ann Duffy's 2 poems, Head of English and Yes Officer, explore how an individual's sense of superiority over others results in interactions that debilitate and limit the freedom of certain individuals. Contrastingly, Richard Flanagan's novel The Narrow Road to the Deep North displays how one's sense of equality and compassion towards others can lead to positive and meaningful interactions in highly adverse contexts. I have bolded the following words from the rubric to demonstrate my awareness of the module. And now we will look at formulating conceptual topic sentences. Your topic sentence should answer the focus of the question and provide a point that outlines your view of the interactions that are influenced by context and perceptions. Lastly, your topic sentences should be linked to the textual evidence you provide. For example, looking again at the following essay question, how are individuals' interactions determined by their context and perceptions of others and themselves? I've provided a topic sentence that addresses the following question and have also provided a link to one of the core poems. An individual may be restricted and limited in engaging in social interactions in a meaningful manner due to an authoritarian presence, bias, and prejudice that exist in a particular context. This is shown in Carol Ann Duffy's Head of English as the poet, through the use of dramatic monologue, portrays a persona's inflated sense of self, which leads to an interaction that limits the freedom of the students and condescends the voice of the guest speaker. I've also provided some examples of other topic sentences that align to the set question provided. These include positive and negative relationships are created through an individual's context, beliefs, and values. Social interactions are determined by our own personal and social contexts. An individual's context, opinions of others and themselves and society will determine the extent to which they change emotionally and spiritually through their interactions. Context and perceptions can create bias and prejudice, negatively affecting social interactions. Egoism and self-centeredness can lead an individual to alienate themselves from others in social interactions and relationships. Setting and time affect the ways in which an individual is able to interact. Interactions determine an individual's values, beliefs, and opinions of others in society. And lastly, an individual's values and beliefs are a reflection of the dynamic relationships and interactions in which they are exposed to. I would recommend utilizing the following 6-paragraph structure in creating your analytical response. In your introduction, again, develop a thesis statement that explores the question and link this to 2 poems from Ken Watson's The Round Earth's Imagined Corners. Ensure that you introduce 2 to 3 conceptual points of analysis in your introduction. Introduce your related text. For example, contrastingly, Richard Flanagan's novel, The Narrow Road to the Deep North, displays how one's sense of equality and compassion towards others can lead to a positive and meaningful interaction in highly adverse contexts. In body paragraph 1, introduce your first key concept. Explore your first poem from Ken Watson's The Round Earth's Imagined Corners. Outline contextual details surrounding the poem and poet. Follow the teal structure. You will start with your topic sentence in which you will introduce your first key concept. You'll provide examples in the form of 3 to 4 pieces of textual evidence. You must also refer to poetic devices. With your explanation, ensure that you analyze your evidence in relation to the set question. And finally, provide a linking sentence back to your thesis and argument. In body paragraph 2, you will explore your related text, connecting these ideas to that of the prescribed text. Focus upon the first key concept presented in the first body paragraph, linking this concept to your related text. Provide some contextual detail surrounding the related text. Again, follow the teal structure that is outlined below. Ensure that you provide at least 3 forms of evidence referring to the effects of various devices. In body paragraph 3, you will explore your second poem from Ken Watson's The Round Earth's Imagined Corners. Explore your second key concept idea in relation to your second poem. Ensure that you are referring to at least 3 pieces of textual evidence. Refer to a wide variety of poetic devices, as this ensures you have an awareness and understanding of the poet's use of language. And again, finally, provide a linking sentence back to the question and thesis statement. In body paragraph 4, you will again explore your related text. Ensure that you explore your second key concept in relation to your related text. Ensure that you also identify how your related text explores this concept in a similar or contrasting manner to that of your prescribed text, such as one of the poems. At least 3 pieces of textual evidence need to be provided. Mention techniques when analysing and referring to your textual evidence, and provide a linking sentence back to the question and thesis. Finally, in your conclusion, you'll restate your main ideas from your body paragraphs, reaffirming your thesis statement. Revise your thesis statement using different synonyms to create a final conclusive argument. And finally, reference the texts that have assisted in solidifying the argument provided throughout your analytical response.